Hey everyone. Wow. I just got done recording another episode of Omni Athlete with somebody whose specialty is flow and consciousness. And wow, the biggest takeaway that I think is lingering in my brain as I step away from the interview is the notion that the patterns that we just allow ourselves to live with on a daily basis, right? As athletes, as coaches, we never ask the question why. In the startup community, one of the beautiful aspects of high performing businesses is that they're encouraged to ask the question why and to test hypothesis after hypothesis to break something just because there might be a better option there. Obviously, there's nuances, but the notion of questioning the status quo is constantly in play. And in the athletic environment, it is very often the opposite, right? We are, whether it be in our training, in our game planning, in our literal execution of whatever our sport calls for to achieve peak performance to win, we are trying to regurgitate and leverage the same old patterns. Innovation happens super slowly. And while that's great, what almost never gets talked about is the innovation of the belief behind what we're doing, right? So as coaches, there is a whole field of opportunity of performance that is waiting for the first team individual who's really going to grab it. And this is where Pete Carroll and Phil Jackson have thrived, and Steve Kerr. When you can step back and say it's not about having a little nuance with this play or this set or this scheme. It's about having nuance in the beliefs that you cultivate within your organization and within your team, right? If you are challenging and asking your athletes to come to powerful conclusions about their own self-worth outside of sport, about really where it is and why it is they want to be performing at their best and why they want to compete, if you challenge them with questions that actually make them think about what it is they're doing and why they're doing it on a consistent basis and force that level of self-reflection, although it's going to feel counterintuitive, you're opening up a whole new level of performance for you and a whole new level of consciousness for your team. And the reason why that's important is because the players that excel there are going to excel at a higher level. And the ones that don't are probably players that are playing for the wrong reasons anyway. And although one of the hardest things about coaching, right, is that your job is on the line based on the performance of your team and on the athletes and people that you put around your organization. Find a way, guys. Find some possible way to make sure that everybody in the ecosystem understands that if we have players that are playing for the intrinsic love of their sport, their competition, their belief in their own self-worth, it's already established, and they're playing just because they love playing, you will win 99 times out of 100, if not 100 times out of 100. But to execute on a plan like that and to execute on a vision for a culture that supports the entire person as a human being and asks them to flourish in, with, and because of sport, not in spite of sport in their performance, takes a commitment from the top down. And there's no way to execute on it without having buy-in from everyone in the organization. So I'm feeling super energized, but also this is a very glaring opportunity right in front of us that we need to catalyze this shift in a way that encourages coaches to be able to take that risk and for athletes to be able to ask those questions. Like, if you are an athlete and you don't know why you're playing, stop right now, journal, do something, go for a walk, pull back just for a moment. I know everything about your life is scheduled, especially as you climb the ranks of competition, but you owe it to yourself to ask yourself, why are you competing? Even if the answer is something you don't like, you need to know the answer. And if you don't know it right away, that's okay, but you have to be willing to ask yourself that question, because the beliefs that you are bringing onto the playing field, into the practice facility, into the weight room, into the training grounds, every belief that you bring with you is affecting your performance. And if it is a belief that is limiting or is covering up trauma or is impeding your ability to be truly shackleless and free to just go and perform and step into flow, then not only are you hindering your performance, but you're hindering the team and everybody else around you. It's a hard thing to do, because self-assessment is scary and it's emotional and it challenges, more often than not, it challenges everything in our reality. But if we can get through that first layer that's based on fear and step deeper and really understand that we're trying to get to a place of love and understanding and support, the power, the performance that comes with that, not some objective, I'm going to sit kumbaya, I feel beautiful bliss and I never have to compete again. No, that's not what we're working towards. We're working towards the feeling of being on the field and knowing things are going to happen before they happen, playing in a level that you didn't know you could play at, where the basket looks bigger than an SUV, where the field is just in slow motion around you, where you're running effortlessly. These things are real, and the only way they can be real is if you compete without any limiting beliefs in your system. And to do that, you have to ask the question, why? Till next time.